Thank you very much, Caroline. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you very much for allowing me to come to speak to you. The Lord Lieutenant is a strange job. 2 years ago, this was not even on my radar. I was a small Cheshire businessman. I run a business called Dawson's Music, that some of you may know about. And I'd also spent quite a lot of my time in charities, particularly with St John Ambulance, and as chairman for more years than I care to count of the Warrington Youth Club. So I have lived in the business world, and I've also lived in the world that you do, or at least I knew a bit about it, which is perhaps why I got the job, because when you become Lord Lieutenant, you get a guidebook that's about this thick. And about half of it is how to wear the uniform and where to put your medals. But amongst it is some talk about what the royal family do for the voluntary sector. The Queen is patron of no less than 600 charities in her own name, and obviously other members of the family. There are literally thousands of charities around the country supported by the royal family, and therefore it's clearly appropriate that the Queen's representative in each county, the Lord Lieutenant, gets involved in the voluntary sector. And there's one sentence in this guidebook that says that one of the things that a Lord Lieutenant can do is to act as a bridge between different sections of society. And what I became to realise is that actually there do need to be some bridges built, because as you can see from that slide, I'm sure you can't read it, that's a great start. Turn your phones off, guys. Go away, go away, go away. How embarrassing is this? Right. What's the fine? The fine if any of you is £5. If you're a speaker and your telephone goes off, it's goodness knows what. Right, those three silos. The top one says government, the left-hand one says business, and the right-hand one says charities. And my view is that human beings are really lousy communicators. And we all tend to live in our own silo. And there isn't enough connection between the two. So what I'm trying to do is try and be something of a help to connect these different worlds. There has, of course, been some connection between government and you, the voluntary sector. Largely, what the government has done is given you cash. But the reason there's a couple of lines through that is because obviously going forwards, there's going to be less cash. And the issue is, what are you going to do about it? There's also, in my view, been pretty poor communication between government and businesses. Indeed, as a small businessman, if you'd asked me a couple of years ago what the local authority used to do, well, it used to collect my rubbish. And then a few years ago, it stopped doing even that and made me pay a contractor to come and pick up the rubbish. So I had very little idea of what a local authority did. It's been fascinating over the last couple of years to learn some of the great work that they do. But the reason the new local enterprise partnership logo is in the middle there is because they hopefully will act as something of a liaison tool between government and businesses. But the real link that I'm interested in talking about today is the link between businesses and charities. And my view is that charities are not-for-profit businesses. Now, you may not all like that, but that is my view, that although you do not exist to make a profit, you are still running businesses. And my view is that in order to help you, you need to get more business-like. And what I've discovered as I've gone around the county is there is a huge amount of goodwill in the business sector to help you. But this goodwill is really largely untapped. There is a vast reservoir of skilled people who've got all sorts of skills. And you probably can't read that, but it says finance, HR, PR, marketing, IT, business planning and legal. Some of the business skills that businesses have. Now, businesses want to use some of those skills to help the voluntary sector. They actually get it. They get what the Prime Minister's talking about. This is not party politics. They get the big society. They get the fact that they are more fortunate than most, they are better paid than most, and actually they're not all plutocrats. They genuinely want to help those who are less fortunate than themselves, and they particularly want their executives to help those less fortunate than themselves, not just because they want to tick the corporate social responsibility box. They also are well aware that their employees are happier if they have done something for the community. When they put their heads on their pillows at night, if they've done something to help people who are less fortunate, they are happier human beings and then better employees. So the situation is there is lots of goodwill in the corporate sector. All those skills that you can see listed there are available to you. And on the other side, there was a list of the same skills, because my view is that you, as not-for-profit businesses, need HR, PR, legal, IT, accountancy, and perhaps most of all, business planning help. We are not here to in any way tell you how to run your charities. What we are doing is trying to get some business skills into charities so that you can run your charities better. Without you, the people that are passionate about your causes, there would be no charity, there'd be no voluntary sector. So please do not be frightened that this is a takeover bid. This is a genuine help, a genuine offer of help from the business community to help the voluntary sector. And what we're doing is we are putting in the middle, it's described here as a broker. I sometimes call it a marriage broker. We're putting somebody in the middle to act as a broker between businesses and charities. Because if you are a qualified accountant or a qualified lawyer or a qualified IT expert, how do you find a charity that needs your skills? And the answer is it's very difficult. In fact, it's pretty impossible. We all know there are hundreds. In fact, Caroline tells me there are 1,200 charities in Cheshire East. Well, no businessman is going to spend the time to trawl through 1,200 charities to find the one or two that need his particular skills. So what we're doing is we are creating a broker in the middle. And in Cheshire East, I'm delighted to say, we're setting up 2 brokerages. The one in Crewe is already up and running, Crewe and Nantwich. And Lee Ramsden, where's Lee's standing at the back. You can't miss him, he's taller than all the rest of us put together. And Lee has been seconded to us by a company called Towry, T-O-W-R-Y, which is an investment management company. And they have very kindly seconded Lee to us for 12 months. And if it works out, I'm hopeful that they will then find a successor for Lee. And Lee has already done some great work linking businesses and charities. And in the rest of Cheshire East, I am thrilled this morning to be able to announce that the 2 housing associations, Peaks and Plains Housing and Plus Dane Housing, have each seconded somebody part-time, so 2 part-time people, to work in what was Congleton and Macclesfield District Council areas. So we've now got the whole of Cheshire East covered with 2 organisations doing this work. And what they're going to do is they're going to go to businesses, find out what skills they've got to give, create a database of them, and then come and talk to you about what skills you need, and get a database of them, and then act as a brokerage. And this is not just going to be, well, you want an accountant, so we'll give you an accountant. We want to work with you carefully to make sure we get the right sort of accountant, and to make sure that there is a genuine match. So when we're talking to businesses, we're going to find out what they're interested in. I mean, some businesses are very keen, for example, to help the elderly. Another businessman might say he really wants to deal with the problem of NEETs and youth unemployment. Whatever the issue may be, we want to make sure that the business who is giving the executive to help cares about the cause about which you're passionate. So the idea is that we will link all these charities with all the businesses. And it'll all be done very locally, because I think we all know that a Congleton business wants to help a Congleton charity and a Knutsford business wants to help a Knutsford charity. So it's going to be done locally, and hopefully we're going to be able to transfer the skills. It's all about transferable skills. There are skills in business that companies have. They want to use them to help you. Now, my experience so far is that businesses get this. They absolutely get it. They want to help. The challenge that we are finding, and this wasn't what I expected when I set this up, I thought the challenge was going to be get businesses to help. The challenge has actually been to try to find charities who are prepared to welcome a businessman or woman into their charity to help. And I do understand why some of you might be a bit reluctant. I am sure some of you are worried that you will be criticised, and I'm sure some of you are worried that they will try and show you up. That is, I promise, not what we are about. We are about trying to help you. We are about trying to make sure that the charity does what it does better and does what it does in a more business-like way. So I just want this morning to urge you all to be brave enough to fill in a form, and there were some forms that Lee's got at the back, for anybody who's interested in this to fill in, to say what business skills you want. Do you need help with your accountancy? Do you help with your IT? Do you actually need help with a business plan? Do you know where you're going to be in 5 years' time? Or would you like to have somebody who's used to talking to businesses about their future and working on a business plan to help you? And when we come and talk about a business plan, this is not Price Waterhouse coming and talking in complex language where every word is 6 syllables. We want to write it in voluntary sector language that really helps you. We don't want to create a business plan that goes on the top shelf and you never look at for 5 years. We want to create something that really helps your organisation go forward so that you have a structure and that you have a plan. Now, this is about business skills. My view is that in this tough economic situation, it is really difficult. I don't need to tell you that it's really difficult going to businesses and asking for money. What we're doing here is going to businesses and saying, don't give me any money. Just give me some of the time and the skill of your executives. Now, my hope going forwards, and I'll tell you guys secretly in this world of charities, my hope going forwards is that once that executive's helped your charity for 6 months, he'll go back to his board and say, they do a fantastic job. Do you think our marketing department could help? And by the way, could our IT department help? And by the way, could we give them some money? And eventually we'll develop some partnerships between local businesses and local charities so that you'll have a real relationship with local businesses going forwards. But we've got to open the door. And it's a much, much easier ask to go and ask businesses for time and skill, which doesn't actually cost them anything on the bottom line, than it is to ask them for cash. We're about sharing skills and knowledge to make the outcomes that you care so much about better. Now, what we're not about, we did a survey in Cheshire West asking charities what they most wanted for businesses. And it will come to you as no surprise that the first 2 on the list were 1, money, and 2, help with bid writing. Now, what I just need to tell you is that the 2 things were not about money, at least not initially. And the one thing that you have to do that is completely different to what a business has to do is write bids to government departments for money. I know it is a challenge. I know it is vital to your lifeblood. But please don't ask businesses to do it because they don't speak the government language. They have no idea what words like capacity building mean. I know it's everyday speak in your world, but it's not in theirs. And incidentally, when they talk in language that you don't understand, make sure you stop them and say speak in English, just as they tell you to speak in English when you're doing it. It is a bit like trying to connect Mars and Venus this. You've all read that book, I'm sure, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. To some extent, charities and businesses live on different planets, but they really do have some commonality. I think there's a great opportunity. I think there is a huge amount of untapped pro bono goodwill in the community. And because up to now there has been no brokerage, there has been no way for businesses to harness this skill, to use their skills to help you. And what we're doing here is actually making that connection. We've found a way of getting into businesses and finding things that businesses can do to help the community. And as Caroline said in her opening remarks, there is something going the other way. This isn't just to benefit you. There are benefits for business. The young executives, they may not all be young, but the executives who come into your world will learn a lot. They will find themselves in a different situation. And they will go back to their businesses having learnt a lot. So there are benefits both ways for this. And you're about to hear from a businessman who's done this and benefited, and then you're going to hear from a charity that's benefited. But this is not a two-way street. I am very conscious that you will also be helping the businesses. But what we're doing here is trying to really make connections to make sure that the goodwill in the community is harnessed. And I think there is a lot of goodwill available here in Cheshire East to help you. So please use this opportunity. If you like the idea, please be brave enough to fill in a form, and then either Lee or the guys from Dennis from Plus Dane, and I haven't yet met the person from Peaks and Plains, so I can't give you a name, but there will be 3 people working on this in Cheshire East, and please get in touch. And the starting gate is to fill a form in today to say that you're interested, and then one of them will come and see you and talk about the detail of just what skills you need so that we can make the right match and find a business person to help you who's got the necessary skills. So thank you very much, and I really hope this helps your charities. Thank you.